Good afternoon again. Still out here on the Geneva roadside. Kind of a nice day today. A little bit hot, but there's a comfortable breeze. I like the fresh air. And also, actually, for the past couple of days, I visited a local sleep inn and had some good relaxation in the air conditioning for a couple of days. So anyway, back out here to my usual daily routine, and I've decided maybe I should just mention to you a little bit about some of the interference that continues. A while ago, I was sitting here just north of Lake Point. I had lunch here, and I was contemplating a message to make, and decided that I should go ahead and introduce my opinions pertaining to national defense. But before I decided on that, something else was said. Somebody who's of the old operation and monitoring and basically they just kind of glean whatever they want to glean and force a person to be broke. Well, anyway, there was some silence in the traffic sound, not much anything, and then somebody said, "These stains are on." And what we've got to think about is what if they really have any kind of official capacity? That their position or their tenet is to say these stains are on. What do they mean by that? Well, I think that if you recall my discussions pertaining to the formerly secret malpractice crime that I had experienced without really realizing what was happening in Orlando back in 1981, you'll understand that there were others that decided to egotistically be a beginning, a really malign kind of a beginning, using a stain accusation from a subversive and corrupt medical clinic. I forget the name of the place. It was located on just south of Colonial Drive in the Lake Underhill area. Well, anyway, I just don't agree about it at all. But whoever the former family I mostly didn't know about, just whatever they decided to do as far as accumulating their influences and power through the years is what they're about. So anyway, they're decided upon and constantly insisted about Tenet being called stain accusations. Well, anyway, I went ahead and made the message, and then after a few minutes, I heard a reaction. Another of the same gets into the traffic broadcasting, accusing that when I was a kid, that I had studied to be warlike in the future, and as an evidence that they have, well, he said, an emphasis of these encyclopedias. Now, people shouldn't have to worry about matters like that, whether I be a congressman or not. I am well known, and I appreciate a lot of friendly, supportive commenting I experience out here on the roadside. People driving past, riding past in cars, people I don't even know. People I always hope are really safe and secure. You know. So anyway, I hear again an emphasis of an opposition that started very subversively from when I was a child, even saying that they don't agree about my own stated opinion because they have decided, and with the father who secretly staged his death back when I was an 11-year-old, that they have decided that I was studying wanting to be warlike in the future. And adhering to that false accusation, even though they know I'm nearly 67 years old. Personally, I haven't been involved with any activity that caused the loss of anyone's life. If I had responsibility, for example, if I became a congressman, I'd want to be very concerned on behalf of individual lives. I wouldn't want to do anything that would cause the loss of anyone's life, here or anywhere else. With any decisions that might be made that might affect, that might be, bring about the possibility of any loss, would have to be really thoughtfully considered. But others, like to pivot on the stain accusation for their maligned attitudes. And theirs included, again, a disruption last night. And some might say, well, you've heard these disruptions, why aren't you in better contact with authorities? Well, I'll tell you, I kind of wonder about why I never receive any replies myself. I'm adjusting the earphone a little itch, you know. There have been so many reports of the years. I really don't know why I've never officially replied to. But as I've said before, that there is often official comment that gets into the traffic broadcasting and sometimes briefly from regular radios. And last night, again, what happened was it was about 12:40. I'm having a nice, relaxing night, sitting on the bed, having a drink, a nice air conditioning, and some who like to intrude in the sound of air conditioning decided to start disrupting again. Now, I'm going to pause for just a minute to remind. When they first started, the former stepfather visited a motel room that I was staying in on North Tamiami Trail at the time, temporarily. 1989, visited on one occasion for maybe an hour on an afternoon. And his advice pertaining to hearing, broadcasting, and air conditioning, or traffic or anything was, you know, people are going to say you're crazy if you start saying you're hearing voices and ventilators. Well, I just don't agree about that. But unfortunately, the corruption had a lot of support. And by the time had traveled as far as Grand Junction in Colorado back in '92, I was being interviewed by a man of a VA center who had an air conditioning vent directly above his desk. Loud broadcasting was in the air conditioning vent. And he looked at me and plainly said, "We don't hear it." Those kind of attitudes is that if you press the matter with them, that they have capabilities to try to isolate you away from the mainstream, act as though you're imagining things. I think now that it's been a lot of years since the incidents that I've just mentioned. There has been a lot of progress. I mean, there are voluminous files of letters that have been sent to Congress, mostly to news around the nation. First, I sent many good reports to the sheriff's department, and right now I don't want to get sidetracked too much about elaborating. But about matters that are still broadcasted in clandestine ways through air conditioning, for example, it's a confusion that is partly monitored. It's a known situation that I had to adjust to. So anyway, last night at about 12:40, the old man that wants to sound like he has a Delaware, Rhode Island kind of an accent, and he portrayed himself as being official again. And he started saying a new variation of Armageddon. He said the term Ourmageddon, whether he meant like in an hour or this hour or hour of OUR, wanted to be possessive and saying you're agreeing about this. But anyway, he said the Ourmageddon threat. Another participant was a man, I still am not too sure about the rules about mentioning names in this, but it is testimony. And persons that participate, they knew who they are. One of them alleged being Bowering again. So anyway, they decided to start saying the Ourmageddon threat. And then what does the old man say, who is also has repeatedly cited being at the Vatican? Is he says, and we're going to lose nearly every American cities. And that is really irksome. And I don't know for sure. He might have been portraying himself as President Biden, but hopefully he is. You know, and so what does that mean? Like, what if you were a congressman or you're wanting to, be sure that your nation is prepared against subversion that might occur from within our own leadership? The rules are plain about matters like that. Leaders of the United States are supposed to be for our nation and for our people. Leaders in the military are supposed to obey rules that are always for lawful orders. Lawful orders can't be destructive of our own nation, our own people. Anything that would be counterproductive and deliberately be wanting to of an intent of causing our nation loss wouldn't be a lawful order. What we have to do is make sure that our people are being represented by individuals who collectively in Congress or whatever other capacity they have are really for our nation and for our people, wanting to be sensible about maintaining the peace, sensible in our relationships with other nations, with the intent of maintaining everything. So, you know, not be with some radical religious interpretation of the Book of Revelation. Yesterday in the news there was talk about one of the famously known gigantic Russian nuclear ballistic missile submarines being retired. I forget what the name of it is, but it's a gigantic Typhoon class, bigger than anything in anyone else's inventory. Somebody actually alleged that some of the submarine competing in our nation knows is actually a result of the old Herman Melville novel Moby Dick. Well, besides that, the real fact, however, is that the technology and the vast displacement of the Russian submarine is bigger than anything. So anyway, they're saying that the old Typhoon sub is decommissioned and is going to be scrapped. But at the same time, another about the same size is being commissioned. So we're reminded that on both sides of the whatever argument, uh, that there is drastic capabilities, and what we need to do is try to be reasonable pertaining to each other, so there be restraint rather than any temptation or accommodating of radicals that want to use the weaponry. We know that there certainly has been a lot of rhetoric recently, and we got to hope for moderation instead. So, what I was saying just before that, I got myself a little bit sidetracked, uh, is that pertaining to any kind of blind religious interpretations being subverted into government pertaining to the safety people, predicting the end of the world, for example. That's ascribed to Christianity, but we know that persons that are very well read pertaining to verses of the Bible know that it's alleged that when Christ himself, when Jesus himself was buried, asked when the end would come, that Jesus himself said nobody knows when the end would come, not even himself. So instead of conjuring and being with any leadership that conjures to try to induce some kind of a worldwide end, we need for the perpetuation instead. So anyway, I was sidetracked about that a little bit. We remember the famous movie that occurred back. I forget exactly when, about 1992, the Hunt for the Red October. It was an action drama about a Russian nuclear submarine, that the possibility of it defecting to the United States. Well, it was an interesting action. Unfortunately, in the beginning of the movie, a KGB man by the name of Putin was murdered, and the man who did it, the actor Connery, uh, there was some I don't remember the detail now, but there was some kind of recitation of biblical prophecy about it. So anyway, I'm not comparing, the these days action to any actual action about the movie, but just reminding that there is also cultural and seen in movies kind of emphasis of religious based kind of prophecy that they're that try to induce a belief that people that something's supposed to happen. But we need to understand that really we're supposed to be the good shepherds that want the people to be all accounted for every day, so that each day to begin with fresh air and peace. Try to maintain the peace as well as possible, and of course that includes trying to reduce the friction and hostility that is war in Ukraine during these days. I know that some people are really irritated about me saying that kind of stuff because there's been alleged atrocities. I read an article last night pertaining to some people, Ukrainians that had been forced to leave their homes in Ukraine and actually got transferred through Russia until they ended up back to Ukraine. Other people, Ukrainians, said to be transferred as far as Vladivostok on the Russian Pacific coast. So anyway, the disruption is sad, tragic. The best answer, of course, would be if matters could be resolved equitably and and that the conflict would end. So anyway, pertaining to the disruption, the license to say stain, the stain accusation, you know, I just don't agree with that, and I'm sorry if I've been speaking too long out here. Hoping everyone's having a good day. Thanks for your consideration.